Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice of The Wandering Investor. So today I'm in Sihanoukville in Cambodia and we're gonna go check out the city because it is completely bombed out from a real estate point of view. I have never come across a market that has had a real estate crash this hard. There are literally hundreds of buildings like this, half complete throughout the city. Estimates vary between 800 and 1,000 unfinished buildings in the city. So obviously this is not a video to say how great an investment it is, etc. We're just gonna drive around. We're gonna jump onto my scooter. We're gonna go check it out, see what it actually visually looks like because it can be quite daunting at times. And I'll just share some thoughts on the market, what I learned from talking to people, and then we'll go check out one developer, see what they're selling, and we're gonna go check out a unit on the secondary market as well. I just contacted these agents online. We're gonna show up for the viewings and see what there is to be found. All right, let's go. So this is typically how I go and do research in these emerging market cities, because typically public transport is quite bad. Traffic can be quite bad as well, though not here in Sihanoukville, because you can't really walk around everywhere. They're big cities. You don't want to take the local bus. It's confusing. It's slow. Renting a car, there's too much traffic, and you don't want to be sitting at the back of a taxi just driving around aimlessly and telling the guy, hey, take a turn here, take a turn there. So it's just a lot easier to rent a motorbike or a scooter, then I can just ride around. If I want to take a turn, I take a turn. If I want to make a U-turn wherever, I can do it. So this really enables me to explore neighborhoods and to get a better feel for the cities as well. When you're on a motorbike, on a scooter, you just feel everything around you a lot more. Yeah, when I first came here in 2018, it was a big construction site. There's really nothing. Now you can see there's Burger King, Starbucks, KFC, a lot of the big Western brands that come in. But everywhere you look, it's just these unfinished buildings everywhere around. If I was in Phnom Penh, I would not be doing this with my phone out like this. Someone would snatch it. Here in Sihanoukville, it's less of an issue, so I'm not too worried here. Or else I wouldn't be putting my iPhone like this for a video. Yeah, just like everywhere, these structures. And just look at this architecture. So it's mostly Chinese money that came in, and they just came up with these extremely kitsch buildings. This could have been, or probably was, a casino, abandoned now. This thing, whatever that was, also abandoned. And the whole city, and this is the pretty part of the city. We're gonna get to the ugly part. The whole city is just like this. And the sea is on the other side. We'll go check out the beach. It's actually a nice beach. But what you'll see is that there is almost no one on the beach. So this is a city of officially about 150,000 people, though unofficially, like, no one really knows, and it's really the Wild West here. So a bit of background on the city. There was this huge construction boom for a few years, and it all came down crashing in 2019. So the construction boom was mostly due to money coming from China, a lot of money laundering. There were strict capital controls. I mean, there still are in China, but Cambodia was one of the ways to get money out of China. So people could just buy Cambodian real estate directly in China, using their funds in China without taking them out. So for people, this was a mechanism to take money out of China. So billions just flowed into all over Cambodia, with a particular focus here on Sihanoukville. And then it just all burst in 2019. And since then, the market has just been absolutely depressed. Why are the beaches empty? And we'll go see. The beaches are really nice. You have a few Westerners, they book a trip through some tour operator in the West. It's cheap. Like Sihanoukville, blah, blah, nice beaches. And then they come here. They typically come only once. But it's mostly Chinese tourism. There's increasingly Southeast Asian tourism and Indian tourism as well. And a lot of it revolves around gambling, because there are a lot of casinos here, a lot of money operations. I won't go into detail. A lot of prostitution. Drugs are quite easy and affordable. That's what people come here for. You come down to Sihanoukville, you can gamble. There are pretty girls, it's affordable, there are cheap drugs. So all the fun stuff that you can't really do easily in China and India or in other Southeast Asian countries, you can do here. So it just attracts a certain type of clientele. So hotel nights are actually more expensive here than in Phnom Penh, in spite of this place being absolutely ugly. I went to see a bunch of real estate agencies, and I would say that 90% of them that are on Google Maps just stopped existing. So that's usually a good sign of a bottoming when you enter a market and there's just like the real estate agencies are gone. And then the ones that were left over were mostly dealing with visa issues. And they barely had any listings. Like, just look at this. It's just so ugly. Everything is so ugly here. It's such an ugly city. And what's funny is that in the midst of all of this, sometimes you see a random Lamborghini or a Bentley or a Maybach with some shady looking Chinese in there. It's quite the show here, right? It really, really is the show. And you know, buildings like this are probably not that old. You know, this building could just be like 6 years old, but the quality was just so horrific. Most of this did not exist 6 years ago. It just like this city just appeared out of nowhere. So Sihanoukville used to have quite a lot of Westerners living here, retiring here when it was a bit of a small town, and you know, there were actually backpacker places, all that. I remember in 2018, there were like all these like backpacker places and little backpacker shows and all that, and that's just all completely disappeared. About the real estate agencies, when you go online, there are barely any listings, and that's the funny part. You think that the market has crashed so hard that everyone's trying to sell. There are barely any listings, and I'm not just checking out all the English language websites. I'm checking out the Khmer stuff. I'm checking out Russian Telegram, because there are a lot of Russians here, because you can buy anything with crypto. So you can go into some of these exchanges here and exchange millions if you want in cash. It's just Chinese run. Typically you go in there, you exchange USDT, it'll be 1% fee, and then they give you the cash. Depending on the amount, it might take a few hours. But yeah, you can easily cash out millions and millions, and then you can buy real estate. So, I mean, obviously I wouldn't recommend buying here. Maybe you want to buy this here. How about that? How about this building? That'll be a nice buy, right? But you can go to Phnom Penh and buy any real estate. I mean, Phnom Penh is a much better investment than here. So these two projects there with the cranes are still moving forward. There's still investment flowing in, surprisingly. So you come here, you exchange crypto, you buy a bunch of real estate. So that's kind of what a lot of people are doing here. Here's another casino that's just full of casino. Yeah, look at this. It's just so apocalyptic here. Just awful. Awful. Almost all these projects, except the two at the back, have stopped. Look at this. Horrific. Hell. And it's all over. This is just... We're in the nicer parts of town here. In the outskirts, it's full of empty buildings as well. Like in the middle of nowhere. With no sea view, nothing, and just massive structures in the middle of nowhere that was sold to Chinese retail investors that wanted to get money out of China. Diversify. That's like diversification gone wrong. And yeah, about the real estate agencies, there are not that many listings. You walk into real estate agencies and they barely have anything to sell. They're just trying to sell new developments, sure, because the commissions are higher. Like the market is just so dead that no one's even trying to sell anything. I would tend to think that most of the market at this stage is probably on WeChat with Chinese people amongst themselves doing deals. And the kind of the Khmer and like Western market are just out of it. I don't know. I just have a hard time understanding it here. I'm not going to try to spend time to understand it because I'm really not interested in this place. But it's just interesting to see how bad things can go. Just look at this. Oh gosh. Everywhere. So what this place is known for is for people who kind of start a new life. Something went bad back home. They come here and they just become forgotten. It's also possible to buy citizenship here in Cambodia. We actually help with the process. It's not cheap. You're looking at about $300,000 for one person. So it's not like a family application like in Turkey and in Egypt and the Caribbean and Vanuatu and all that, where you can just include family members for cheap. Here it's per person, it's $300K. processing time between 2 and 10 months. It varies. And then you can get Cambodian citizenship. You live here as a citizen, you know, you're good. You can even change your name legally. So, you know, some people do this. If you have a criminal record, it depends on the severity of it. So if it's really bad, they won't take you. If it's depending on how minor your situation is or how bad. Cambodia is an interesting jurisdiction from that point of view for some people. I mean, it's pretty niche, let's face it, but it does have a use case. When I see this, I always feel pain for all the retail investors who worked for years, saved their money, made sacrifice on a daily basis. I'm not going to have this tea. I'm going to skip coffee today. I want to buy an apartment for my retirement. And then they listen to these developers. They believe all their crap and then they lose everything. Like all of this here is just broken hearts and families that got potentially wiped out. All right, let's go check out the beach. So you see, even these commercial areas are just, everything's closed. And it's 11 a.m. I mean, it's not like siesta time or whatever. There's just no business anymore. Everything closed. You know, and they put effort into this here. It must have been nice at some point. All closed. All of these businesses went bankrupt. All right. Here is the beach. I mean, the beach is actually next. So you can see here, nice beach. Like no one's on the beach. Just a few white people. That's it. Like I said, like Asian tourists don't come here for the beach. They come here for money stuff, prostitution, gambling, fun, generally speaking. So yes, if you want a cheap beach destination, you can come to Sihanoukville. And they're building a massive new development here. I think that'll help the city a lot. It's going ahead. It's not stopping. It's huge right here. So hopefully it'll give the city a bit of life again. Again, most white people that you see here are Russian typically. So here it's actually 3 Russian ladies chilling here. Affordable. They can bring in their money through crypto, no issue. So they can just live here. No restrictions for Russians. So a lot of Russians are here actually. May the wandering investor tempt you to buy a beautiful condo unit here in the Aristocrat building. So this is the new project that they're building here. It's moving ahead. That's good for the city. I mean, the city needs a bit of life here and then something successful. We're going to go check out another project now. I went to see it yesterday. We'll see. It's decent, not as an investment, but just to give you an idea of prices and in the market. Yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag here. So you got the new construction. This side of the city here doesn't look too bad. But then you look on the other side and it's just, look at these massive unfinished structures. It's crazy. But yeah, this mansion is probably millions of dollars. People will pay that price because the land, the location, it's a really, really strange market. It's definitely not a market for Westerners. It's just not anything like we're used to. It's not for Westerners. It's just a different ballgame here. It's completely different. The way people perceive real estate, everything, it just serves a completely different function. Yeah, I need to be a bit careful with my phone because even though it's not that much of a risk here, I've just been going around like a fool with like this for long enough until they might spot me. So you see here USDT up here. Places like this, you can probably exchange millions. There's, you know, nondescript, whatever, regular little shop. Like the Western mind cannot comprehend this. And they will give you cash, millions. Come with your sports bag and then you walk away. I think I would feel a little safer doing this in Phnom Penh than here in Sihanoukville. It's really a bit too much of a Wild West here to be walking around with millions in a sports bag because people talk, you know, and you stay around for too long. New Mall, pizza company. I think there's a Starbucks. Oh, and they're still building this thing. And we're going to go check out this development here. These massive towers, construction's still ongoing. Some of them are finished. We're just going to go in there quickly and then just have a look at the kind of the product offering. All right, Star Bay Marketing Center. Let's go face some marketing. It's so convenient renting a scooter here. Barely any paperwork. You show up, you give your passport, they keep your passport. That's it. No deposit, just the passport. This little Honda cost me $8 a day. So really affordable. And yeah, they don't even ask to see a driver's license, nothing. Give me $8, here, sign this paperwork. And in 2 minutes, you're just riding away on this thing, and then you can explore the city. Shit. Okay, so actually the sales team is in here, which I would rather, to be honest with you, because then we can get this over quickly. Buildings here, when I was checking yesterday, they're going for between $1,800 and $2,200 per square meter for apartments. Most of them have some level sea view, but yeah, if you want a sea view, you're looking at around at least 1,900. The cheaper ones will be at the back, giving you a city view. There's a big swimming pool at the back. It's actually really nice. I went there. The water's warm, it's super clean. But here's a big question mark because it's just like an empty field. So I guess a lot of these eventually will lose the sea view. It's almost inevitable. I mean, it doesn't look like this. It looks like a construction site. It was actually bought over by another developer and then they went bust. So it's just sitting empty. You're paying for sea view, but you probably won't have sea view. I mean, there's no guarantee you will have sea view down the line. And there's quite a few, just walking around this building, around the complex, there are quite a few people, quite a few Russians living here. Apparently a lot of Thais, a lot of Filipinos, a lot of Indonesians live here, and they work in online casinos and call centers. So I'm not going to speculate in terms of the legality of what they're up to, but a lot of them seem to be living in this building. So gives you an idea of the market. So now we're going to go check out the secondary market. I just contacted some agent. I don't know him. We're just going to show up and see what he has to say. So I have an hour to kill before the viewing, and I just entered that mall because, yeah, when you spend a lot of time in this part of the world, you know, these nice malls where everything's clean and there's air conditioning, it really feels like a godsend, and just, you know, familiar Western brands. And if you want to buy some luck fuck jewelry, you can do so. And just to show you how much money there is around here, I mean, you come here and immediately it's Fiji water, cases of Fiji water. You know, most people cannot afford Fiji water, but here people buy it by the caseload. Yeah, cigarettes are really cheap here. It's less than $2 a pack. They have all this like expensive Chinese alcohol, some Western alcohol, all the Chinese cigarettes as well. It just kind of shows the target market here. Tommy Hilfiger, though I can't say I've seen anyone that dresses like this around here. But yeah, Tommy's here. All the Western brands, Adidas, Armani Exchange. A few years ago, this place was a village. I remember when I was here in 2018, struggling to find Western food. And now it's just so many options. Ooh, Panda Commercial Bank. Love it. Beautiful, nice design. Gosh. I did not see this one in Phnom Penh. All right, they are selling fresh coconuts here. Probably $1 or so. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Cool, nice to meet you.
Yeah, where you from?
All right, let's see us.
What are your plans?
In Cambodia?
Yeah, on Koh
Korong, just 2 nights.
This is very good place.
All right, so a little garden area. All right, a lot of Russians around here. Interesting. A lot of staff. relatively high ceilings. Okay, so this studio is being sold for
55.
$55,000. Okay.
This is a resale.
Resale, yes.
If you buy home, people
More expensive.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so as is usual around here, if you buy directly from the developer, it's a bit more expensive. Okay. Okay. Anyways, nice bathroom. Okay, so big studio. And the view is, very nice view. You see all the structures here, everywhere. It's just like, this place is so random. It's so random. Okay, so 50,000, 55, is it very negotiable? How negotiable?
Yes.
What would be the rent for this with furniture? 425. How quickly can you find a tenant if I want to buy this as an investment?
If you want to buy it, go in investment.
Yeah.
Mostly all the apartment here, if there's like a boom available, people like rent it so quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
How many empty apartments do you have? That
For now, we only have like one studio and two bedroom available.
Okay.
Because someone just came in and then they rent two of them already.
so it's really quick to rent. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. So it's not like the other buildings in Sihanoukville that are very empty. This one is.
Yeah, this one, all these.
Almost this will do all and things, all blue-based study.
Cool. It's important to remember this here in Cambodia. Some buildings are very empty and some buildings are not empty. And it just really depends on the quality of maintenance, the quality of build, etc. So it's hard to put a general occupancy rate. But yeah, you do have oddities like this where a building will be full, but everything around is empty because everything around is crap, but this is actually nice. Nice pool. Okay, nice gym. All right, this is nice, clean, well maintained. I don't doubt the high occupancy rate because the reality is everything around is so crap and unfinished, and even the finished ones, they're major issues. Some of the buildings, I was told, they're finished, but it's just like all these random Chinese investors that just stop paying all the common charges, the HOA, so things are just falling apart. If a building is well maintained like this, yeah, you'll have a high occupancy rate. Does it mean that it's investable? I mean, you'll probably squeeze like a 5% net out of this thing per year, which is not too bad. But the reality is there's nothing fundamentally special about this building. What makes it special is that everything around is just messed up and not viable. So as soon as you're going to start having these newer buildings that are being finished, like, and that are closer to the CNO, like the developer we saw before, or that huge one that's being built, then a lot of the people staying here eventually will migrate, and then this one will be an old building, and it's not like it's anywhere special. So sure, you can make some half-decent yield for now, but I don't think the yield is going to be sustainable in the long run. I mean, you know, $55,000, I'm sure you can negotiate it down to 45 or something. Yeah, you'll make 5-6% net. It's not impossible. I still wouldn't go for it. And as you can see, I mean, there's just so much land to build still, and they will build eventually. So then you'll just have this building in this very average neighborhood without a view eventually. That's kind of what you'll own, and that'll be old. And if you're looking to invest in real estate, I would say the Phnom Penh and Siem Reap are more interesting. I analyzed these two markets in detail. There are links in the description so you can have a look at those, and I have some good realtors in these markets. Overall, you know, the story for Cambodia is, generally speaking, you don't get very high rental yields. It's more of a diversification play. It's a way to cash out your crypto. You can open non-CRS bank accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So it just serves a bit of a different function. It's not real estate the way, you know, Western people view real estate. It's different here. So, you know, for some people, it's the right play. Also, lifestyle is fine here. Not in Sihanoukville, let's be clear, but in Siem Reap and Phnom Penh, it's okay. So feel free to have a look at those articles and you'll get a better understanding of these markets. So my time in Sihanoukville left me thinking, this is why I'm adding this on, because I was filming in January and the team was working on the editing now. And I decided to spend a bit more time on it and to look at the developments since then, because I just had this feeling that we had reached a bottom, and I just decided to look a bit more, really, to spend a bit more time on Sihanoukville, which I wasn't too keen when I was there. But looking back, so the big project that we saw that was under construction, this is it, Peninsula Bay. It's a huge Chinese project. It's definitely going to revitalize the whole city. I mean, once this actually takes place. And then when you look at the type of investors in there, some of the brands that they believe they'll be getting, you see all the main ones: Hermes, Chanel, Dior, Cartier, Gucci, whatever. All these like really premium European, Japanese brands, etc. And is it just marketing? Do they have odds of pulling it off? And then looking at the latest news, here we go. This is from March 2025. It looks like Intercontinental is going to open there at the Peninsula development. So this very development that is actively under construction and that will change the city, big brands actually are coming in. Intercontinental, it's literally on their website. So I started looking around a bit more, and they're not the only ones. You see TUI, Blue, so this is a big German brand. May 2025, they're back in Sihanoukville as well. And then I was looking at the government, what they're doing. They're giving a whole bunch of incentives to try to finish the construction, essentially, of these ghost buildings. So that was from December, actually, so a bit before I got there. And then you look into April, and they're giving even more money. So they're very much aware of what the problem is, and they're actively trying to fix it. So they're trying to get rid of these buildings, either get rid of them or give money so that people can take over these projects. This huge development right on the seafront is being actively developed. Big brands are coming back in. Here we're seeing that there are airlines that are resuming flights. They're investing in infrastructure. Here it's, I see news of some wastewater treatment investment in Sihanoukville. So looking at other news, we can see that the port is expanding as well from a trade point of view. So things are happening. I think what I saw is a bottom, and I've traveled a bit and I've come across a few bottoms, and this feels like a bottom. It really does. And then you have the catalysts that are there for the city to emerge out of the bottom. So I saw the top in Sihanoukville and I saw the bottom. And I think from now on, it's going to improve. And then just very recently, Untac, my realtor in Siem Reap and in Phnom Penh, who also works in Sihanoukville, sent me this. And this is a massive new development that is going to be right on the beach in Sihanoukville from one of the biggest developers in Phnom Penh. So this is unheard of. I mean, for many years, no one was building new developments in Sihanoukville because of the whole situation. And now you've got one of the biggest developers that's going back into the market. This is a huge sign of confidence. And when just looking back at the market, I mean, that one building that we saw with the rooftop pool, which was nice, but it was really in the middle of nowhere, and it was full of people, because even though there's all these buildings, they're either very low quality or they're not complete. So when you actually have buildings that have decent services, decent amenities, that are managed properly, where the finishings are good, guess what? They're full. So this is interesting. This new project, and what's interesting as well is talking to my agent, in the first day of sales, they sold hundreds of apartments, which is quite incredible. So I feel relatively confident calling a bottom here and saying that, we're seeing the first sprouts of Sihanoukville coming back. Now, am I trying to say that I believe that you should buy into this development, that it's a great investment, that you're going to be making high rental yields, etc.? I mean, I have no clue. The reality is there isn't much of a market. I mean, that's the thing. There isn't that much right now that you can actually buy in terms of things. They're nice, but then they have a lot of land and they're capable of building a lot more. So I don't know. But what I do feel comfortable saying is that what I saw was the bottom, and Sihanoukville from this point on is just going to improve. Is this the way to play it? I really don't know. I haven't been to the exact location, but something's brewing in Sihanoukville. So anyways, if you're interested, just feel free to get in touch with Untac. He can help you with real estate in Sihanoukville, in Phnom Penh, in Siem Reap. And things like this can be paid entirely with crypto as well. So you can buy apartments like this with crypto. Essentially, you can buy anything in Cambodia with crypto. Have a nice day. Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, linked below. And feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.